Hello, welcome in. Thank you for clicking on this video. Go ahead and have a seat, get comfortable. Grab a cup of coffee, water, tea, whatever it may be that you drink. My name is Faz Kareem. I'm the lead desktop instructor here at Learnit, and I want to present you Zoom for Trainers. In this course, I want to spend some time talking about the pitfalls of remote learning, and a little bit of what we can do about that, how we can engage our audience. It has to do with creating inclusive presentations, and a little bit about getting feedback and input as you go along while presenting as a trainer. Once we get the basics, I want to talk a little bit about sharing slides, sharing your screen, sharing audio. What if you have multiple monitors? What if you just want to share a slide deck or a Word doc? How can we use these tools effectively within Zoom? Don't worry, we're going to cover all bases. I want to talk about online meeting features such as the chat box, our participant window, co-host abilities. And one of the features that I save for very last topic is breakout rooms. As a trainer, when you host these larger trainings, maybe 1 or 2 3-hour trainings, it's extremely useful to use breakout rooms to keep the audience engaged and also to allow participants to group up into smaller meetings without spending too much time building and assigning new meetings on their calendar. We can quickly break off just one single meeting into 50 smaller meetings and have them return back to the main meeting within a set amount of time. As a host, as a trainer, extremely useful. Now, if you are enjoying these videos, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If you are looking to earn certificates and maybe watch these videos without ads, you can sign up for Learnit Anytime. It's our dedicated online training subscription service. You can check out the link in the description for more information. Now, if you have any questions you want answered by me or any of our instructors, please join our offsite community. I'll put the link in the description as well. As always, the PowerPoint deck and any files provided in this video will be inside the description of the video below. Let's get started, everybody. Before we begin, I just want us to talk a little bit about the pitfalls of remote learning. One being that there's never-ending distractions. One way we can avoid distractions is simply setting pre-training communications, offer assistance to employees who are having difficulties with scheduling or even childcare. An issue during the training is maybe people not speaking up or people falling behind. Learners may be silent or they may be putting on a brave face, and they might even leave the training frustrated and having learned nothing. It's important for the trainer to set up a supportive learning environment. At the beginning of the session, explain how attendees can raise concerns via hand up or any similar function. You may also have technical issues. Now, to avoid technical issues, the best thing we can do is prepare. You can always minimize the likelihood of technical issues by preparing and testing any logins, passwords, or essentials before the training has started. And also leaving in a little room for buffer in case an issue does happen with any logins or passwords that need to get inputted during the training. Now up next, I want to talk about a little bit about how to keep your audience engaged. Whether that's a training where you're presenting a new idea or you're reporting back an idea. I want to discuss 2 methods that we can use and design our training with keeping audience attention and engagement in mind. One type of presentation or one type of training you may host is a training where you're presenting a new idea or communicating something new to an audience. When hosting that type of training, a simple thing you should ask before the training even begins is, why is the audience there and why necessarily should they care about the material that's being presented? Once you have an idea or a sentence or 2 of why your audience members should care, that's when you should start announcing the topic. Now, once the topic is announced, you should give details. And of course, once the details are given, give them about 3 things to remember from the conversation you just had. Now, another type of presentation style is reporting. You report back something to a group or an audience. You don't need to go through that presentation style or cycle if you're just reporting back information. One method you can use is STAR, where you can list out the situation of what is happening, then go into the tasks that were assigned, and boil it down to the actions that were associated to each task, which led to some results, which ultimately leads to your recommendations based off those results. So that's just a little bit about engaging your audience in two styles of presenting, whether it's a new idea or reporting. Up next, I want to talk a little bit about creating inclusive presentations when using PowerPoint to present. If you're going to be reading a slide to me, or anybody, expect them to get a little bored. Now keep in mind, if you do have to write a paragraph, a definition, an acronym, a wordy slide, PowerPoint has something known as the presenter view. It's in the slideshow tab where you can turn on the presenter view, and as long as you have an extra monitor or a projector connected, you can extend and see your notes and the upcoming slide in your presenter view monitor. Now, if you don't have technology and you don't have an additional monitor, keep in mind you can always print out your notes, as opposed to having them on the slide where everyone has to read them, creating a wordy slide. Now, if you do have a wordy slide, which I'm about to show you up next, do exactly what I just did there. I paused. And in fact, in my head, I read the same thing you're reading. And once I was done reading it, I went ahead and started talking again. Now, in a normal conversation, you wouldn't talk over someone else. So when you're talking to someone while they're reading, that's exactly what you're doing. It's even worse because you're probably talking over yourself. So just if something's on the slide there, just give them a little chance to read. Now keep in mind, when actually building these presentations, a quick method that you can do is to always create title slides. Go down PowerPoint, even in a Word document, and create all the title slides that you're going to expect to have in the presentation. The important thing here is you're getting all the text down and then deciding what to put on the slide. Afterwards, fill in all the speaker notes. This avoids text barf. This puts all your thoughts on the speaker notes, not the slide. Once you've done that, that's when you can add content to the slide that helps people understand the main points that you want to underline. At the final stages, where you can actually adjust design, add images that spark emotion and thought. Now, if you're wondering of what you should put on the slide, ask yourself these two questions. Content should only go on the slide if it satisfies one of these two questions. Otherwise, it might need to go on the speaker notes or a handout. Ask yourself, does this content help the audience understand? Is it the main point that I want to underline? If the answer is yes to either of these questions, you might want to include this on your slide. Now, that doesn't mean to add everything that answers those two questions on the slide. If a slide does require examining in detail, consider simplifying it or moving it to a handout. Now, if I were to give you some general tips to avoid overloading your slides when creating them, try to set all the text size above 20. Now, ideally, you want to do 32-point font is better. Makes it everything legible, and it reduces the chance of you having a bunch of words on the slide since the text size is legible. You also want to try to keep the paragraphs, the bullets within the paragraphs, or the paragraphs within the bullets, I should say, within 2 lines or less. Leave empty space on slides. And try to have no more than 4 bullets on each slide. This will allow the focus to be on one main point. I hope these tips on how to essentially use PowerPoint or whatever slide tool that you use to create an inclusive presentation. Now, up next, I want to talk a little bit about getting feedback within a presentation or a training using one of the tools that we have available, the Zoom chat. A great tool that you can use to communicate with your audience besides having microphones or cameras is the Zoom group chat. However, I want you to know that the Zoom group chat does allow you to adjust settings. Now, if you do click on the ellipses like my screenshot shows, the little 3 dots as an ellipses, the settings window pops up. And as a trainer, one thing that you can do is save the chat in case there's any questions or links or URLs that you need to visit or your trainees need to visit. Saving the chat will create a text file inside of a computer's documents folder with the name of the meeting. Now keep in mind that the chat tool is available for all attendees, hosts, co-hosts, and attendees, and is found on your meeting tools. I have a screenshot of the icon and how it looks at the bottom of the screen when no one's sharing their screen there, the chat icon. Now by default, it starts out with an individual chat, but you can always change that to allow the attendees to chat with just you, the host, or only to everyone publicly, or also send messages privately. Now keep in mind the Zoom group chat, if using the Zoom desktop app, also allows file uploads, but sometimes organizations may have that setting turned off for security reasons. In the next video, I want to talk about some more tools that we can use, focusing on sharing your screen and slides with your audience members. I recommend, before going on to the next video, to pause this video and try to join in your private meeting room in Zoom and really quickly see if you can use the chat area and adjust the settings or even save the chat for yourself. And then come right back so we can talk about slides and screen share. Now, something you can do within Zoom is share your screen, as we all know. And when you do click that green little button, the share screen option at the very bottom of your meeting, you'll get access to a little window that allows you to choose what screen you can share. And that's what the screenshot's showing. Now keep in mind that you can share a single screen at a time. You also have the ability to share a whiteboard. Now, if you are concerned about any notifications or sensitive information being shown, at the very bottom of this window where it's showing you all your screens and the whiteboard, you also have the ability to share just an application at a time. Now keep in mind that sharing a specific application at a time ensures participants only see what's shared, not any email notifications or any other screens. Now keep in mind that if you have a PowerPoint or a web browser that you're going to share, it's recommended to go ahead and share the computer sound here. Now keep in mind that if you don't need to use computer audio, there's no video or there's no audio that needs to come from the computer on your end, you can leave that unchecked to save a little bit of bandwidth for the meeting and the presentation that you have. Now once you do choose these settings, whether it's sharing your screen, an application, or if you want your video to have sound, you still have to click share at the very end. Once you hit share, that's when all of these settings that you chose will be applied. Now if you ever need to switch between screen shares, maybe you're sharing a presentation and then back to a Word document, you can always very easily go back to the same button you went to, click on New Share again, and it will seamlessly switch between applications. Now if you're a host, which good chance if you're a trainer, you're the host of the meeting, before you start sharing your screen, you'll have a little arrow, a little caret there, and if you click on it, you'll get access to your advanced sharing options, where you can control how many participants can share at a time, and who can share their screen. Maybe you want only the host to share their screen, and who can override someone's screen share. So, with that being said, we just spent a little bit of time talking about our screen share options. The seamless sharing, and our advanced sharing options. Before moving on to these next videos, where we're going to start talking about meeting tools and features, I want you to spend some time going to a personal meeting room that you have in Zoom and seeing if you can share your screen. Try sharing between applications. Try including audio and seeing if you can hear it. And also, see if you can find your advanced share options, like my screenshot shows. Go ahead and try that out and come right back. Now in Zoom, when you are sharing your screen, your attendees will get to see at the very top of their window their viewing options. Now when they click on the View Options drop-down, they'll get the ability to annotate. Now participants can click on View Options to annotate on a screen, and they get a nice toolbar that pops up. This toolbar allows participants to essentially use a mouse, select things, add text boxes, draw on the screen, and even save the drawing as an image onto their local machine. Now keep in mind, if you want this setting turned off, you can turn it off from the security button that a host or co-host has available to them in their meeting tools. In addition to that, annotation feature, if an organization permits, you also have the ability to record the meeting. It should be in your meeting tools. If not, it might be under the ... which is sometimes found if you have a small screen, because it can't display all the meeting tools that you have. Now keep in mind, if you don't find recording in one of the options there, your account may not have the ability to record, or it may be turned off by your organization's IT department. If recordings were enabled and you need to go access a recording, you can very easily access the recording under zoom.us, where you can head over to the Recordings tab on the page once logging in and browsing your cloud recordings there for the next 30 days. Or sometimes even 90 or 180, all depends on how long the organization has set recordings to be held for. Now, there was quite a few things we discussed in this small little segment here, one being the fact that both the host and attendees can annotate things. They can do this on a screen share. I want you to try this out. After trying that out, I want you to take a look and see if your meetings have the ability to record presentations or trainings. And if they do, it's healthy to go spend some time signing into zoom.us and seeing where you can access the recordings and download and share the recordings from there. Pause the video, I'll be here when you get back, but go ahead and try out those 3 things before we talk about the almighty breakout rooms there. Breakout rooms are a great way to split off a large meeting into smaller meetings without having spending too much time setting up additional meetings. Because it allows people to split off into meetings, up to 50 of them, and return back to the main meeting within a set amount of time. And the host gets to control and communicate with everyone while they're in their meeting rooms. Now, breakout rooms are something that you have to enable from zoom.us, which I'll show in one of the videos at the very end. But if they are enabled, you'll actually have access to the breakout rooms button if you're a host. Now, something very important to note is if you're a co-host in the Zoom meeting, you will not have access to breakout rooms. It will not be there for you unless you are the host. So only one person can launch breakout rooms. And once they click it, they'll get a little Create Breakout Rooms window where they can choose to assign the participants into up to 50 rooms automatically or manually. If you don't like the automatic assignments, you can manually move them around. But once you're happy with the split, you can choose to create the rooms, and another window will pop up for you. Now, in the breakout rooms options, it's going to let you know that both rooms are currently not started. And it's showing you what participants will go into each room. Now, as a host, at the very bottom here, you have options. What you can do with the options is you can adjust whether or not participants can move to the breakout rooms automatically. You can set a automatic duration of when the breakout rooms will close, and you can even put a countdown timer to let the participants know that, hey, the room's closing in about, looks like we have 10 seconds here. As a host, once you're happy with all these settings, you can launch the rooms. Or, of course, move or swap people as appropriate by hovering over their names, and the Move To option will be presented to you, kind of like the screenshot shows. And a really cool feature that you have available to you once the audience members are in the breakout rooms is you can see when someone has joined the breakout room, it'll light up green here, and it'll change this to joined. And you can broadcast the message to everybody in the breakout room without having to join the rooms. Now, in the next video here, I want to show you a little bit about how you can actually turn on breakout rooms. Now, this button here might not be available for you because it's an advanced meeting feature that you may have to enable from Zoom.us, which we'll talk about in the upcoming video in case you want to turn that on. So for those of you that are trying out these features as we go along, I just want to let you know that in order to actually have breakout rooms available as one of the meeting tools, you have to go to In Meeting Advanced and enable it if your organization or if you haven't already done so. When I click on In Meeting Advanced, on this webpage, In Meeting Advanced is going to get hovered to. And one of the options right there is breakout rooms. And as you can see, it allows the host, only the host, to split the meeting participants to separate, smaller rooms, and I currently have that enabled. Now, while you are here, I highly recommend to also go to your in-meeting basic settings, and if you scroll through here, you will also see that you can turn on meeting polls and quizzes, which I currently have on, and it's locked by administrators. This will allow us to add a poll to our meetings in case we want to launch a poll as one of the meeting tools or a quiz during one of the trainings as well. Now keep this in mind when needing to use meeting tools such as polls or breakout rooms. You have to turn them on from In-Meeting Basic or In-Meeting Advanced from your Zoom profile on Zoom.us. Go ahead and pause the video and do that now if you've noticed you don't have those tools available. And then from that point on, you will always have those tools available for all meetings that you host. A great bonus tool that you've been seeing me use in this video and many others on our YouTube channel is Zoomit. Zoomit is a screen annotation tool, great for technical presentations. Zoomit works on all versions of Windows PCs, and you can use a pen to essentially draw on tablets that are touchscreen as well. I'll provide the download for Zoomit in this PowerPoint slide as well. But Zoomit is a great tool that I like to use to annotate on my screen as opposed to Zoom annotation tools. This is what I've been using to create these boxes and these lines, as well as these different colors that produce arrows. I'll leave the link to that inside the PowerPoint slide that you find in the description of the video. Now, one extra feature or feature set that we should talk about when presenting using Zoom is the ability to manage your participants. If you click on the participants button in your meeting tools, you'll see that you can actually hover over each participant's name. And under More, you'll get the option to make a participant a co-host, or you can put them in the waiting room if they've joined a little early. Be very cautious about removing participants because they will no longer be able to join that meeting link anymore, which might be an issue if you accidentally use this thinking that they can just join back in again. This will permanently remove them from that specific meeting link. Congratulations, everybody. You've completed Zoom for Trainers with Fast Kareem. In this course, we did go through the pitfalls of remote learning, how to engage our audience members, creating inclusive presentations, and even using tools to get feedback and input, and a little bit about sharing slides or applications, and using our online meeting features such as breakout rooms. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend you to check out our Zoom deep dive video that goes into depth about using these tools. Or if you're brand new to Zoom, try checking out Zoom Essentials for our brand new beginners at Zoom there. At this point in time, I want to thank you all for taking this course. I hope it's done you well. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay learning, everybody. Till next time.